Take a deep breath. Try to rotate it between the lobes of the nose, the nostrils, right? One more.
Where do we start from? Which Vasu? Anal.
You can start from Anal, yeah.
Sorry?
Anal, yeah.
Anal or Agni, the power that gives thought a form, making it recognizable.
Yeah. We did this in the morning.
Yeah, we did this.
In the morning, yeah.
The disciple develops this power so that one day he can recognize that he already had that for which he had been searching.
So we are already that consciousness, but there is a veil of Maya on that consciousness. And that veil of Maya is of zero awareness to 100% awareness. Consciousness never changes. There are no ups and downs in consciousness. It is always the same. Because of the veil of Maya, we feel it is less or more. We look at a stone and we say the stone is not conscious. But there the veil of Maya has covered the stone so much that it apparently does not seem conscious. Otherwise it is consciousness, it is Sat. Everything is on that screen of life. Is the isness, Sat. But it does not have awareness. It cannot respond to external stimuli. But still within the stone there is a desire that the water will come, the wind will come, I will crumble into sand or I will crumble into clay, and some plant will take me in its roots, and from there I will begin my process of evolution into something higher. That it does not mean the stone does not contain this desire. This desire to rise is there in everything in this universe. So the stone has this desire to rise, but normally we don't see it because it is covered by the veil of Maya. Similarly in plants, so plants, they are alive, but we don't seem to see that they are conscious. Of course, they are nature's experiments in sensitivity. And the sensitivity of plants is very high. There are authors who have said that plants on the earth are communicating with plants on some other planets in some other distant galaxies. Man cannot yet communicate. Right? So, plants have deep sensitivities, but still the veil of Maya is there. They have started responding to external stimuli. They will send their roots towards nourishment. They will send their leaves towards the sun. They will protect the inner core from the wind. And then the animals. The animals have attention which moves out. But still, we don't feel that the animals are really conscious. We feel there is a slight amount of consciousness over there. And that is because they are not self-conscious. They cannot be conscious of self. If the lion is killing the deer, the lion is programmed to kill the deer. That is why it has to kill the deer. The lion does not know that I am killing this deer. Right? It is oblivious of that fact. Man, when he kills a deer, he knows that I have killed the deer. And this is the beginning of self-consciousness. So in man there is the possibility of self-consciousness. In animal there is no self-consciousness. Right? And so this self-consciousness in man can be developed from 0 to 100%. And when it is 100%, the veil of Maya lifts, and we see that we were already conscious. There was no lack of consciousness. It was only the light of awareness which leads us to what we already are. So, the power of perception, the power of seeing, it comes from Agni, and Agni is consciousness, right?
The transformative power of heat and light.
Yeah. The transformative power, that which burns the old sanskars, that which takes something from a base energy into transformation into something higher, and then transmutation into gold. This process of transformation and transmutation is all possible because of the power of Agni, the power of heat.
The fire of digestion, the fire that burns negativity, the power of purification.
Purification. Yeah.
Anal, anal is from the root an, which means to breathe, move, or live.
All living things breathe, prana, when the breath goes forth, prana, right? So the derivative of anal or agni is an. Hmm?
With an instrumental or agentive suffix, which is al, which means that which breathes or moves.
That which breathes or moves. Now, another thing about Agni is it it has a form, but you cannot catch the form. You go to catch the flame has changed. So it is Agni is on the boundary between the making up of form so the eyes can see and that which is formless beyond. It is sitting on that wall between the formless and the form. And when we light this inner Agni of Kundalini and it comes, then we move, we come and we are sitting on that wall, that boundary. If we go now further, then everything dissolves into that emptiness, right? Similarly, as we did Omkar now, we did not want to come out of it. Everything dissolved into that ultimate emptiness, right? So, Agni is that which purifies at a lower level, it digests at a lower level, but it takes us higher, it rises higher, and it takes us, it is the creator of form, and it is sitting also on the boundary between form and formlessness.
Is that why it was said as the messenger between the human world and the Swahalok in the ancient times?
It's on the boundary. It's a beautiful story in the Mahabharata, the burning of the Khandav forest. And Agni gets the one who gives digestion, he has got indigestion. It's a beautiful, what do you call, uh, you know, kind of contradiction over there that the person who is responsible for digestion within us, and not just ordinary digestion of food, but digestion of impulses, digestion of air, right? So that very person he himself is suffering from indigestion. And so it's a beautiful story, the burning of the Khandav one, which they go.
The word Agni is from the Proto Indo European ignis, which is the same for Latin ignis for fire.
Fire.
There are it can be derived in two ways from two roots. The first root is aj, which means to drive in the sense of the fire being very nimble, very agile.
Yeah, one form does not remain. You can't catch the form in the present moment. And that is why Tauriya says that you visualize a black flame, because you can't catch the flame. It is form and formless, form and formless.
The second way to derive Agni is the letter A is from the root E, which the grammarian claims implies to go. The letter G is from the root Ang, meaning to shine or meaning to burn. And the last letter is by itself the root Ni, which means to lead. So Agni can mean going, burning, and shining.
Yeah. Okay.
The third Vasu, Anil or wind or air. The wind come and goes. If it blows when the clothes are wet, they dry easily.
Yes. Sanskars are of many types. We can divide them into some which have to be fulfilled, some which have to be destroyed. But even the ones which have to be burnt, destroyed, are of two types: the wet sanskars and the dry sanskars. Right? Many times people understand everything. Intellectually, they understand everything. But they don't make the effort to rise in consciousness. Like I said yesterday, or I think day before yesterday, the inner divine fragment whispers 3 times in our life. If we don't hear it, it is okay. But if we hear it and we take a few steps on the path and then forget it, then it will whisper to us after 2,500 years. So it won't whisper again. And that is why there must be this fire, or what Tauriya Sahib calls the white hot heat, that I want to work on the path, I want to move, I want to work upon myself. Right? And that is Agni. Agni. Right? So that Agni then destroys the sanskars. But I do a little bit of work, then I forget about it. Means my sanskars are still wet. I can't, the Agni I'm creating is not enough to burn the sanskars. So I have to leave them in the wind to dry. I have to create an inner wind for them to dry. And that takes maybe a few lifetimes, or maybe much more than a few lifetimes. We don't know. But we see so many people who come for 1 or 2 months, they're very interested, and they feel as if this is the whole thing in their lives, and then you never see them after that. Right? And so when a person says, I'm very interested, a new person says, I'm very interested and I want to do this, and I get a little, take it easy, don't hurry it up, right? Because it comes and goes away, right? And that's the end of the matter. And then that inner divine fragment is not going to talk for another 2,500 years. Right? Thank you. Okay.
Anil or wind, this is the power of recalling at the right time.
The power to recall. The power to recall. It goes and it comes. It goes and it comes. Vayu. It goes and it comes. And it is that inner impulse which allows us to recall. That is, the library is lying there, the memory is lying there. The memory does not get eradicated, does not get erased. What becomes weak is the power of recalling from the memory. We don't remember in which drawer we put the key, right? The power of recall. And this power of recall must be practiced every day. One of the easiest ways to practice this is when you wake up in the morning, don't get up from your bed. Try to recall one dream at least before getting up. This may be an exercise in the power of recall. An exercise in the power of recall. Right? So try it out. Right? So can we recall? Because this whole journey is nothing but recall. We have to just recall what we already are. Right?
In the midst of battle, Karna could not recall the mantras his guru had taught him.
Yeah.
Similarly, when we are hypnotized by anger, we cannot recall what to do.
We don't recall that the Guru has said, tense and relax your muscles, right? The Guru has said, do the rhythmic breathing. We don't recall. Anger goes straight away, and there is no power of recall over there.
Anil, the god of wind, embodies the vital life force known as Pran.
Right.
He is responsible for the movement of air and the breath of life that sustains all living beings.
The Upanishads say the first creation was Chitti, the mind of God. And the mind of God was divided into two parts, Prana and Rai. Rai means the structure. So in the universe there are two things. There are structures and there is prana which gives petrol to the structure. We have the human body is a structure. But petrol comes in through physical food we eat, through the air we breathe, through the impressions we take in. That is the prana which comes in. These are the three types of prana which comes in. Similarly, everything in the universe is a structure. Even the smallest cell, the smallest amoeba, right? But everything needs energy to work, needs pran to work. So there is the structure and the energy. So Vayu is the creator of prana, the creator of petrol.
And the creator of structure, would it be Agni or space and Agni both?
No, Agni allows perception of structure. It does not create the structure. The structure is created through universal mind, chitti, through universal mind. But it is perceivable by the inner eye because of Agni. It is perceivable by the five senses because of Agni.
Anil's presence is essential for the balance of the atmosphere and the flow of energy within the natural world. And karmas have to be dried before being burnt.
Now, atmosphere is a very deep thing to talk about. And now, one is the atmosphere which science sees, and one is the atmosphere which the rishis saw. So Tauriaji, in his purpose of birth and death, has drawn a diagram of this atmosphere. He says the prana is released by the sun, and the earth takes in that prana. That prana, the earth rotates it in its core. Now the earth has different layers, and each layer, one is rotating clockwise, the other is rotating anti-clockwise. And the prana is being churned over there. It is directly taken from the sun, and it is being churned over there. This prana the earth releases every 1.5 hours. Some pranas are very dangerous to man. Some pranas, you should be very careful in those pranas that we don't have conception in those pranas, otherwise there'll be a stillborn child. So the earth releases these pranas, and this release of pranas is the forgotten science of what is called Chogarya. We have only half the science now with us, right? And that is what you call circulates in the atmosphere. Man takes it in through his nose, that prana. Now, when we take in air through the nose, prana and air both go in together. But at this point over here, in whichever nostril is working, the prana and the air separate. The air goes in the lungs, the pranas go in the nadis. The prana goes in the nadis. So prana and air, till here they were together, this point, right? So then it is the real vayu, the real, what do you call, this thing, which one is it? Anil. Anil, right? And it goes down into the Muladhara chakra. So prana and air are two different things. Prana is the life force, air is the courier service, the Maruti service, which carries the life force. What happened? Now, the earth also breathes in and breathes out. And in this movement of breathing out and breathing in, there are also two movements which we call as Navratra, where there is a change from the breathing in to breathing out, or there is a change in the prana. The breathing in happens from January 14th to July 14th. From July 14th to January 14th, the earth is breathing out for 6 months. So in those 6 months, there is no new prana in the air which has come from the sun. The earth is rotating the same prana. It's like a swimming pool, filtering the same water and giving it back into the swimming pool. But from January 14th to July 14th, the earth is not filtering the same water. It is taking a new prana, rotating it and giving it out in the atmosphere. Right? So all this is because of what we call anil, the vayu tattva, which is there. Right. You go ahead.
The derivation of Anil is Aniti Jivati Anena An Illach Unadi Sutra, which means that
Unadi Sutra.
Unadi Sutra. Unadi Sutra. It comes from the root an, which we saw, to breathe, and the affix ilat.
The pratyay il. Il pratyay.
Il pratyay. And so it means one breathes and lives because of this anil.
So we are breathing and living because of the prana. There is vitality in us because of the prana. Prana.
It could also be referred to as the universal air. The Ishopanishad says Let my vital breath now attain the all pervading immortal air, the vital breath being Pran and the immortal air being Anil.
So within Pran, the force that gives vitality, that is called as Anil. Anil.
Anil also sustains all life force. The existence or sustenance of the life breath Pran is dependent on the air, Anil. And finally, Vayu, it comes from the root Va, which means to flow or move.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go up ahead now. We are running out of time.
Aha or atmosphere. Each thought and every word we utter or hear comes with its own mood or atmosphere.
So we have an outer atmosphere and an inner atmosphere. You say, let's go for, we say, I'm not in the mood. The inner atmosphere is, I'm in some wrong space inside, right? I'm not in the right space. So there can be positive inner space and negative inner space. See, I look at you, but many of you all sulk. So I know the inner space is from positive has turned into negative, right? So atmosphere.
One filled with hate will have a negative and heavy mood, and one filled with love will have the opposite mood.
Opposite mood. So where are we are in the inner space, in our inner space. And people can be very close in outer space. I may be sitting next to you and having dinner with you, but in your inner space you may have gone to America, or you may be in some very foul mood or some mood of revenge, right? And I may be in some different inner space. So in inner space we may be at opposite ends of the world, and in outer space we are sitting together and having a meal together.
The disciple develops this force by separating from and observing his moods.
This is the beginning of self-observation. Am I positive or am I negative? Ask your question. If it is dislike, we are negative. If it is like, we are positive. Where are we inside? Right?
Aha, the deity of the day, represents the period of daylight governed by the sun. He embodies the qualities of clarity, visibility, and productivity. Aha's presence is vital for the daily activities of life, providing the light necessary for growth and the pursuit of endeavors.
Right. So there must be a right attitude to life. And attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. Attitudes are very deep, very, very deep. And they come on immediately. There's something which come on automatically, and we have to develop new attitudes and replace the old attitudes with new attitudes. And a new attitude is that every event in life is coming for redemption. It's coming for me to be free. It is my soul has invited it. I'll try to give you an example of this. Many years ago, one person who used to live in our ashram in Madhopur, he came to me and he says that there's this lady who calls me all kinds of names when I go for my lunch. And I feel very hurt inside, right? And she insults me like anything. But if you tell her to stop it, she'll stop it. So I asked him in Gujarati that, did you come here in the ashram for Shanti or Mukti? If I tell her you will get Shanti, you won't get Mukti. And if you rise above it, you will get Mukti. Right? We are not in the business of Shanti, of peace and happiness. We are not in that business. We are in the business of freedom. Freedom. It's a different thing. Right? It's something totally different. The ego wants peace. Right? The soul wants freedom. And the soul, before even we enter, we take the first breath in life, the soul has already invited all the events in our life. Try to understand this. When Krishna was 11 years old, 11 years, 11 months, 11 days, 11 hours, right? Akrur comes from Mathura to take him to Mathura, comes to Vrindavan to take him to Mathura. And the Bhagavad has a beautiful setting. Such a beautiful book, the Bhagavad. Such a beautiful. It's full of the, what do you call, the juice of the heart. It's full of the juice of the. In that way, the Mahabharata is very dry. There's no inner juice of the heart. The Bhagavad is love sublime. And few days before Akrur comes, actually one day before Akrur comes, Narad comes to Vrindavan and he comes to meet Krishna. And he tells Krishna that what is the purpose of his birth. He tells him that these are the events of your life. So all the events which happened after that in Krishna's life were already told to him by Narad. Right? He was not allowed to have any event of his own free will in his life. Everything was predestined. Right? He had to follow the path set out for him, laid out for him. But where was his free will? Where was his choice? Not choice, I'll use the word free will. Whether to take the event with a positive attitude or to take the event with a negative attitude. The soul has already invited all the events of our life. We don't have to bother, I want this event in my life and I want that event in my life. It is not going to happen. Already the invitation letter was sent out before birth. But do we each event as it comes, we face each event, do we rise in consciousness or do we fall in consciousness? That is the only thing. And when we die, do we die at a higher level of consciousness than what we were born with? But if we die full of negativity, we die because I could not take revenge upon him, I die with that inner this thing, then I die at a very low level. All my desires have remained unfulfilled. Death has come. Now what do I do? Right? I was in between, somebody had sent me, I don't know whether it's true or false, Lata Mangeshkar on her deathbed. And she's writing, I have money, I have this, right? And still nothing can be done about death. Now, this, after all this achievement in life, is this the quality of death? The death should be, I have enjoyed life. I have lived life to the fullest. Now I'm ready to meet my lover in death. That should be the attitude. But I can do nothing about death. Why do you want to do anything about death? There's nothing to do about death except to embrace it with full love, to embrace it with consciousness. See, consciousness and love are two sides of the same coin. I don't talk much about love. I talk about consciousness. Love is always there through the back door. They cannot be separated. If a person becomes more obstinate, if a person becomes more cruel, a person becomes more, hard inside, then he has not progressed on the path of consciousness. Consciousness is soft. There's a softness about consciousness. When I've been with different masters, but each one, they had their softness. Such, there was such a beauty about them, just sitting next to them, drinking their aura, feeling their presence. It fills you up with an inner, what do you call, beauty, an inner, something you can't touch, and it's still there. So, uh, we are trying to say is, in each moment in life, what is the inner atmosphere? What is the, what, if the is the inner atmosphere one of this thing, what do you call, negativity? Am I in a mood of dislike? And dislike starts a chain of reactions. It starts a chain of thinking inside. It starts, right? We must observe our dislikes. Yeah.
Fifth, Pratyush or dawn or early light.
Yeah, this is the early light. We mixed up everything in the morning, right?
This is the gap between the end of the night and the beginning of the day.
Wow. The gap. The gap. Krishna gave the Gita in the gap between the two armies. When we enter that gap, we enter into a state of what is called Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra. There's so much which can be done in Yoga Nidra. It is a, it's a different realm which opens up for us. Many times this thing when I'm going through Facebook, I read of people I know, friends, they're traveling from here to there, traveling all the time. And a person who is traveling all the time has never experienced the inner beauty. It is not possible. Otherwise, he's still seeking it from somewhere else. And when you've touched that inner beauty, you've gone through the gap. When you're not asleep, you're not awake. You've taken your consciousness through the gap. And in that gap, it opens up to a different world, a totally different world. You are then a traveler in your own brain, not just the physical brain, the astral brain, the mental brain. You're an astronaut, right? Traveling in your own brains, right? And there is so much to understand inside, so much to experience inside. One life is so short to travel inside. But can we travel through the gap? Can we move through the gap? Even when I travel, if I want to do something personal, something which takes me through the gap, I hate to go to normal, what do you call, sightseeing. I don't go for this normal sightseeing. But if I see a good work of art which takes me through the gap and reveals secrets which are hidden in the gap, then I would go to a museum or to a gallery to observe a work of art which takes us through that gap. That the person who has done that painting, has done that work of art, he has he has gone in the gap, he has risen to a certain level and he's put that there. And we are able to reflect that within ourselves. We are able to live that state of consciousness. It's an inner beauty. But we are always traveling. I want to see this. And there was one person I knew, he had been to, I don't know, 60 countries or always traveling all the time. What is the point? What is the point? So, the gap between the end of the night and the beginning of the day, Sandhikal, the Brahma Murat, Sandhikal, the possibility of going into some other dimension of time and space and coming out of that. That is the state of yoga nidra, right? So I hope, if my health permits and with God's grace, we can get together in December and have a few days talk about yoga nidra. Try to go into the practice, into the depth, what we experience. Yeah.
It is the power of holding attention in different gaps, such as between exhalation and inhalation, between two thoughts, and as this develops further, finally between death and birth.
Yeah.
He represents the light of dawn, signifying the beginning of a new day and the dispelling of
The
darkness.
dispelling of darkness. When we consciously enter our own subconscious mind, our own unconscious mind, and all that is lying there in darkness, suddenly the darkness is dispelled and everything is open in front of us. Our own sanskars are open. They will take a different form. They will come in different forms, and we should be able to recognize those forms and work with those forms, right? But it's a dispelling of darkness in that.
He is associated with the first light that heralds the arrival of the sun, bringing hope and renewal.
The sun brings life, joy, renewal, happiness, right? And so when we come out of that space again into the conscious mind, I can't remember whether the poem was with Wordsworth or who, where he saw the flower in a dream, but when he woke up, the flower was in his hand. If anybody remembers that poem, I don't remember the poem, right? Uh, so you go into conscious sleep, you come out with some knowledge, but when you wake up, that knowledge is in your hand, right? And it is deep inner knowledge, not outer knowledge gained through the instruments of science, right? It is inner knowledge. So the flower which you saw in your dream, you wake up with that same flower in your hand. It's a beautiful story of Marie Curie. She was the one who discovered radium, and she got the Nobel Prize for that. And she was working on something called pitch blende, and she was stirring it and working upon it, and something was not clicking with her. And she was writing the equations, but something was not there. Then in the night, in her dream, the answer to all her equations came. When she woke up in the morning, she couldn't remember the dream. And she started crying that I can't remember the dream, and all the answers came in the dream. And then she went to her table and she saw that in the middle of the night she had got up and written down everything on small pieces of paper, and that is how radium was discovered. Right? So you go into that gap, you go into that space, right? And you come out and you have the flower which you saw in your dream, the flower is in your hand. Right? Yeah.
Pratyusha's energy is symbolic of new beginnings and the cyclical nature of time.
Yeah. There are many cycles inside, many cycles inside. And we can work upon those cycles. One of the cycles I have already brought about to you all, that is how to transform the sex energy into ojas. So I hope you all are already practicing that, right? Okay. Yeah.
And finally, Pratyush, which means dawn or daybreak, it's formed by combining the prefix Prati, which here means towards, and the root Ush, which means to glow or to burn. So Pratyush means moving towards the glow or dawn or daybreak.
Right. It's new light. You're moving towards new light, new understanding. The light of buddhi, the light of understanding. Feeling a little tired. Can you just read through the other two? Yeah, I'm just feeling a little tired today.
Dew or Prabhas or seen twilight. Bhishma or the apparent cause behind every manifestation. He embodies the qualities of clarity, visibility, and productivity. Presence is vital for daily activities of life, providing the light necessary for growth and the pursuit of endeavors.
Now we have to understand the journey of the ego. We have to destroy the active ego and the passive ego. And the sattvic ego, which is Bhishma, right? It has to realize its own, what do you call, uh, holier than thou-ness, right? And India is a country where we have a whole mass of sattvic egos, all the politicians, terrible, there is, right? So, uh, Bhishma is the pure ego, the pure ego. There is no this thing, what do you call, uh, blemish upon him. There's no black blemish upon him. His clothes are white, but there is an ego that my clothes are white, right? And that ego has to dissolve. And the process of dissolution of that ego is to take the prana into the Bindu chakra over here. It is called as Uttarayan. So he's sleeping on the bed of arrows and he's waiting for Uttarayan, January 14th, Uttarayan, right? So when the birth is breathing in new prana, at that time you take the energy up into the Bindu. Right? And in that moment, the sattvic ego dies and it flows into the divine. Krishna is standing in front of him when Bhishma dies. And he forgets everything that Yudhishthir, till then he was giving Yudhishthir different sermons, different lessons. But then he forgets everything and he's looking in Krishna's eyes, and in that pratigya, that what you call oath which we held throughout his life, that drops, it dissolves. In that the ego dissolves and the spirit passes into the divine, into the eyes of Krishna. So one of the most beautiful scenes in the Mahabharata, one of the most beautiful scenes in the Mahabharata. So. This is this what we call the ego, Bhishma. Bhishma comes from the word bhi, to frighten, to frighten. But the sha is cerebral. The sha is cerebral. So he was not able to go above the cerebral level, the cerebral level. And that is why he did not take an oath of brahmacharya. He took an oath that he won't marry. Brahmacharya means your acharan, your action has become one with the divine, Brahma, right? With the expanding consciousness. Your actions are now being done by the expanding consciousness. But it was Krishna acted as a catalytic agent in Bhishma's death. And it was through Krishna that he achieved total freedom. Right? So, right. Yeah.
It comes from the word dyut, which means to shine, glitter, be bright, or brilliant.
Yeah,
The word dyu thus means day. The
day.
period.
Now the day has come. So what is the conscious mind is the day. The subconscious mind is the twilight, and the unconscious mind is the night. Right? So when we are half asleep, half awake, we enter into the subconscious mind, and from there, as we practice and practice, we go into the unconscious mind.
Another day, sky or heaven, which is a visible expanse above, and brightness or splendor. Another word for it is prabhas, which is from the root bhas, which means to shine.
Shine.
to be bright or appear.
Yeah. Take the last one, Soma or moon. Oh, there
Soma
are
or
two
moon.
more, two more. Oh, just read through that.
The moon reflects the light of the sun, and so the mind reflects the light of the soul.
The mind reflects the light of the soul, but the mind is filled with content. How can it reflect? It's filled with moods, contradictions, associations, habits, attitudes. So much of junk we are carrying in the mind. Somebody was asking yesterday, Bhikshu, empty the boat, right? But so much of junk. It's a junkyard, the mind. But when the mind is empty of all this junk, then it reflects the light of the divine. It becomes the moon. It becomes Soma. It reflects that inner light of the divine. And we see that reflected light. The most beautiful relationship in life is that between master and disciple. There is no comparison to that relationship. And the disciple is in total darkness, and the master is catching his little finger and taking him step by step by step and revealing the inner world to him, guiding him through the inner world. And he climbs step by step and he moves. And then he comes to a point where there is light, because now the mind has been purified. The mind is now clean, right? And he is now sitting in this light. The guru knows that this light is still the reflection of the mind. The poor disciple does not know that this is still the light which he is seeing is not the real light. It is still but he takes it as the real light. He takes it that this is the light, and he's understood it, right? And this is the moment which the uh, disciple, he dreads this moment, because this is the moment when the guru leaves the disciple. Then they have to separate. The disciple has seen the light. He has to walk on his own feet. Now the outer master goes away. Now the inner master takes over, right? And the disciple he does not know that this light is not real. This is still a reflection. And the last thing the master does, he throws a stone in the pond, which is reflecting the light of the moon. And in the ripples, suddenly the disciple, this cannot be real light if there are ripples in this light, right? The reflection of the moon in the pond was disturbed. It's not the real light is somewhere else. And that journey from the reflected light to the real light, the disciple has to do on his own. The master is not there with him. And that is his own personal journey, final journey. So there are two lights. There is the real light and there is Soma, the reflected light. Just now there is no reflected light also. There's a whole lot of kachra in the pond. You can't, even see the reflected light in the pond over there. So, right? Okay.
Should we just directly move to the last?
Yeah, take the last one.
Last is Dhruv or the pole star. In every thought, there is
We've
one.
reached our journey, the pole star. The pole star is here. And this is the, question mark, what we call uh, the big bear. The big bear, right? And the pole star is up here. Bindu is the pole star. And this is the big bear inside. And when we move inside and we go up, and then we come to the pole star, that we've come to the pole star. But till then we need the 2 pointers to the pole star. The 2 pointers, the sun and the moon, 2 pointers to the pole star. They point to the reflected light and the real light, and then the pole star. We reached our destination, right? Immovable. We have touched, life is made of 2 parts. One, something which never changes, is always the same, and the other which is changing all the time, is never the same. That which changes all the time is Shakti, and that which is always the same is Shiva. That which is changing all the time is Jagat. That which is never changing is Purush. The Jagat Prakriti keeps on changing, and we take the final step and realize that which was always and always never changed, right? Whether you put something inside or you took anything outside, it was always the same, in that we dissolve into that eternity, the pole star Dhruva, right? Okay, we'll stop over here, right? Okay, Chal, I'll stop over here. We are meeting tomorrow morning. Yeah, one more time. Yeah. Okay, tomorrow morning, 10:30, we'll meet. Thanks a lot. Good night. Good night.